All right, welcome to the final boss level. Look, if you're here, you're not looking for some sugar-coated theory from a textbook. You want the real, unfiltered, brutal truth about building something from absolutely nothing. This is for the founders, the ones actually in the arena.
I used to believe this with every fiber of my being, that entrepreneurship was all about that one lightning strike of genius. You have this perfect, brilliant idea, and poof, the world just beats a path to your door.
I was just wrong, brutally, painfully wrong. And let me tell you, that one mistake, it costs countless startups everything before they even have a chance. The idea, man, it's maybe 1% of the whole equation. No, it's about what you do after you have the idea. It's about the relentless day in, day out grind of execution, and it's about surviving that dark, lonely place called the Valley of Death, where most, and I mean most, companies go to die. So let's get into it. Let's start at the very beginning with the first brutal truth. Okay, first things first, the myth of the idea. And the truth is, your brilliant solution, it doesn't matter. Not yet. What you need to do is fall completely, obsessively in love with the problem. So let's get this definition straight because it's so important. A startup is a temporary organization. I want you to really hear that word, temporary. It's not just a small version of a big company. It's an experiment. Your only job is to find a business model that actually works, one that's scalable, repeatable, and profitable, and you have to do it before the clock runs out and the money's all gone.
And this right here is the question that separates the dreamers from the builders. It's so easy to get excited and build a beautiful, elegant solution to a problem that nobody actually has. Think about that. Most startups don't fail because of bad code. They fail because they build something nobody wants. So how do you avoid that trap? It's a process called customer discovery. And no, this is not your grandpa's market research. This is about one thing, getting out of the building. You take your grand vision and you break it down into a bunch of simple guesses. We call them hypotheses, that you can actually go out and test with real, living, breathing humans. And this thing right here, this is your toolkit, the business model canvas. It's not just some boring chart, it's your map. It forces you to get honest and write down every single one of your assumptions. Who are my customers? What am I really offering them? How will I make money? And here's the kicker. Right now, every single box on this canvas is nothing more than a guess, a complete shot in the dark that you need to prove. So how do you prove it? You talk to people. And I'm not talking about your mom or your best friend. You need to talk to at least 50 potential customers. And here's the most important rule. You are not there to pitch them. You're not selling anything. Your mouth is shut, your ears are open. You are a detective on a case, hunting for the truth about their problems. Okay, so you've done the work, you found evidence of a real problem. Now you enter the gauntlet. This is the engine room. Build, measure, learn, and then do it all over again. This loop, this is everything. It's your engine. It's your only engine. You build the smallest possible thing. You measure how real people react to it. And then you learn from what they do, not what they say. It's a cycle. It's not a straight line to glory. It's a messy, iterative loop that runs on one thing: cold, hard customer feedback, not your opinions. And that smallest possible thing has a name: the minimum viable product, or MVP. Now, let's be crystal clear about this. An MVP is not a crappy, half-baked version of your final product. It's not version 0.1. It is a science experiment. It is the absolute smallest thing you can build to learn if your biggest guess is right or wrong. That's it. It's a tool for learning. And get this, that experiment doesn't even have to involve writing a single line of code. An MVP could just be a landing page with a sign up now button to see if anyone even cares. It could be you personally doing the entire service by hand for your first few customers. That's called a concierge MVP. See, the goal isn't a beautiful product. The goal is validated learning. And what are you learning towards? This. Product market fit. This is the promised land. It's the whole point of the game. It's that magic moment where you don't have to push your product on people anymore because the market starts pulling it from you. You've built something that a real group of people desperately needs. Trust me, you will feel it when it happens. Okay, you've hit product market fit, the engine is running. Now you've got a huge decision to make. Do you add regular gas or do you strap on the rocket fuel? Let's talk about taking the money. The choice here couldn't be more stark. On one hand, you have bootstrapping.
That's your own gas. Yeah, it's slower, but you keep 100% control. You answer to no one but your customers. On the other hand, you have venture capital. That's the rocket fuel. It promises insane, explosive growth. But you give up equity, you give up control, and if you're aimed even 1 degree in the wrong direction when you light that fuse, you don't just fail, you detonate. Now, if you do decide to go for that rocket fuel, you're going to get a document called a term sheet. And everybody focuses on the economic terms, how much money you're getting. But the real devil is in the details of the control terms. This piece of paper decides who has power, who sits on your board, and ultimately who can fire you from the company you started. And here's something you have to understand deep in your bones. An investor is not just an ATM. When you take their money, you are taking on a co-pilot. They're in the cockpit with you. It is a marriage, for better or for worse. So you better be damn sure you choose someone you'd want in a lifeboat with you, because things will get rough. So that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the part that almost nobody talks about when they're starting out. If you take that rocket fuel, you have a new destination. You're building towards the exit. See, you got to remember how VCs work. They don't want a nice little dividend check every year. They need a massive return on their investment. And the only way they get that is if they can sell their shares for way, way more than they paid. That event is called the exit. Their entire business model hinges on it, which means once you take their money, your business model hinges on it too. And really, there are only 2 paths to that destination. Path number 1, acquisition. A bigger company, think Google, Apple, someone like that, buys you outright. Path number 2, you go public, an IPO where you sell shares of your company on the stock market. From the second you cash that VC check, you are officially on a journey to one of these 2 places, period. You know, when you go through this whole gauntlet, it fundamentally changes you. You stop being the person who just talks about their great ideas at a bar. You become the person who tests them. You stop just dreaming, and you start building. It's the most brutal, but also the most beautiful process there is. So there you have it, the brutal truths. If you're ready to keep digging into the real mechanics of how this all works, make sure you subscribe and join the journey. This was the Lazy Reader's MBA Breakdown. Now, seriously, stop watching this. Go build something.